I'm not going to speak through any of this. So that's the title of my book, Make It Now, available in all good bookshops. It's really bargain price. It's about creative inspiration and the art of getting things done. It's kind of, we're all here right now. We're all kind of in this room, and we're all kind of making decisions and making work. Kind of, I'm really glad there was an interval between me and John, because it's a really hard act to follow. All these texts, I'm going to show you lots of texts from the book. So each one of these things kind of kicks off something that's in the book. So it's about kind of going on a journey, you know, a kind of creative journey. I think sometimes you have to change location to do that. I think I moved to the Royal College to study graphic design, and that's where I kind of first started rebelling against the kind of teaching that was going on at the time. I knew what we were being taught was wrong, and I knew I wanted to do something different. So this is the studio that I shared at the Royal College. In the words of the Wealdstone Raider, it was a shithole. And you can that's for my son, by the way. So you can see there's just stuff everywhere. It was kind of a real mess, but a real creative environment. It's the people I was on the course with. This is back in 1989, ancient history, so kind of before computers. So it's not that long ago. So yeah, you won't spot a computer in that photograph. So that's where I began to learn to look. To kind of look at, observe, and kind of get information and ideas from the world. So this is where I started to begin to work hard. People, and I kind of, people always say, you know, oh, you know, how do you do it? What's the big secret? And that's to work hard. And yeah, and yes, the word nice. A lot of people don't like it. I'm pleased that it's nice that I like it, because it's one of those words that is it's a bit of a kind of lame word, but in a way, it's kind of like, how else do you say stuff like that? How else do you say, don't be an arsehole? Sorry. Liking things is important, obviously, but not always understanding things. So I think kind of looking at the world and kind of seeing things and kind of responding from the heart more than the head. I don't think you can't teach creativity. There are no shortcuts to creativity. It's something that is inside you, I think. I know there are people whose business it is to go around to corporate clients and instill these ideas of creativity, but I think they're false in a way. I think you kind of need to know inside you what is creativity. It's looking at little dots and kind of thinking, what is that thing? What is that little idea? And is it something I can expand and build on? So we're all here. It's that idea of kind of being here and being in this moment all together. We're all in this big room in the middle of a massive city, and everyone's been quiet listening to me. And it's kind of, for me, it's a very, it's a kind of, I can kind of say anything I want. I can kind of, and I think people like the President of America, he uses situations like this, and he knows how to talk to crowds, and I think it's kind of, it can be very scary. So yeah, don't follow any rules. I think anybody who tells you what to do, you immediately have to ignore them completely and kind of do the opposite, especially me. You can't learn things through listening to other people talk about their work. You have to do your own work. I think it's amazing to see other people talk about their stuff, but I think you can read as many books as you want. You can look at as much stuff on design blogs. It doesn't really kind of count for anything. You've got to kind of make your own stuff. You kind of, in a way, I kind of ignore everything else that goes on. When people ask me what kind of designers do I like and what kind of design do I look at, well, I kind of try not to. I try and stay within Burrill world as much as possible. And this is Burrill world. So that's me on the left, my sister on the right, and a giant horse in the middle. So when I graduated from Leeds Polytechnic in 1989, one of my tutors, John Ross, who ran the course, he was an amazing man, very kind of like this real kind of creative force, and he didn't take any prisoners. And it was the end of year degree show, and he'd had a few drinks, we'd all had a few drinks, and he put his arm around me, and he said, "Get down to London." Okay, John, I will. So yeah. So that's something I've always tried not to be, or ordinary. It's kind of, it's being happy with yourself. It's being kind of like thinking you don't have to fit in, you don't have to be anything you don't want to be. You can just kind of carry on being yourself, you know. Working out what it is that you want to do. Sometimes I've never had a job, I've never worked for anybody, and I've always kind of shied away from working for people on a kind of full-time basis. But I used to screw the tops onto shampoo bottles. That was a summer job. And I think I kind of realised then that I didn't ever want to work anywhere. You've kind of got to be yourself, really. So the power of yes, the power of saying yes to things and kind of being positive. And, you know, it's hard sometimes, like when people ask you to do stuff and you kind of, you know, what's in it for me? What am I going to get at the end of it? And it's, well, sometimes you just do things because you want to do them. You want to kind of experience things. So yeah, say yes a lot, and then positive things could potentially happen. Obvious think and make. It's kind of, when you see John talk about his work, immediately you want to kind of photograph an ice cube and put some eyes on it. And it's kind of like, it's that joy, that untrammeled joy of looking at the world and not giving a shit, really, what anybody thinks, but just kind of getting on with it. So yeah, say stuff with your work, you know, engage with the world. Don't just make visual wallpaper that kind of doesn't mean anything. It's like we've all got a stance, we've all got a view on things, especially now when everything is so, you know, kind of messed up. It's up to us and everyone to kind of say stuff, really. There's tons of these, so we've got all night. We're going to... So yeah. Finding out things, getting answers, it's the only way to kind of... So every single student email I get, can you answer questions for my questionnaire, for my dissertation? And always like the third or fourth question is, where do you get your ideas from? What's your inspiration? And I say, well, where don't you get inspiration from? It's in the book, I was kind of writing lists of stuff. So you see random stuff like photocopiers, Kirch fitters, the way that all these things kind of build together, it's kind of looking for stuff. David Hockney, you know, massive, amazing creative man. So this is just like the first 5 minutes of things I could think of. Just let you look at that for a minute. You know, if you're not happy doing what you do, change it, you know, kind of do something else, kind of, you know, it's that thing, it's like we've all got our own kind of destiny in our hands. We can all kind of make things happen. And this is, you know, it's a big one for me. It's like, just think of your own stuff, you know, don't look at other people's work and think, oh yeah, I like that, I'll kind of do a bit of that. It's like, just look inside yourself and see what you're kind of capable of doing. You know, I've always had a very strong idea of where I come from, which is Oldham, and it's a brilliant joke, and that's I think I kind of grew up with these really strong values of kind of, you know, being so kind of self-determined and wanting to do my own thing, and I was kind of built with this kind of voice that I kind of knew I wanted to kind of say stuff, really. So at the moment I'm really frightened because I'm stood up in front of all you lot, and it's that time when you're in a stressful situation and you kind of have to deliver something. It's like I couldn't, I kind of have to kind of come up with the goods right now while I'm speaking to you, and it's especially with that really bright light. Moving forwards all the time, and kind of, again, looking at John's stuff, the way that he's constantly evolving and kind of like trying new things, and I think it's kind of being bored of doing things one way and moving on. I think as creative people, you're kind of constantly looking for new stuff, new ways of doing things. Even though I've got a very definite kind of way of doing things for myself, I'm always looking at new bits of inspiration. So yeah, it's always about moving forward. So obviously, as you kind of get a bit older and you've been a creative for maybe 25, 30 years, you get to a stage where you've kind of done lots of things you wanted to do, and you understand the kind of language and way of doing things. So yeah, but you can still, it kind of doesn't matter, does it, how old you are these days? I'm 50, by the way, so not that it's a big thing for me, honestly. So yeah, giving the joy back it's about giving stuff back. You know, it's kind of like being generous with yourself and your time, and kind of bringing everybody along on the kind of journey with you, really. Do good stuff. You know, make work for things that you believe in, and speak up about things that you want to change. Oops. So yeah, here I am. It's kind of, got to be optimistic about how things are going to develop. So now you're all dying to see the book, aren't you? So here's a lovely film that a friend of mine, Max, who I think might be here tonight, I haven't seen him yet, made for me.